Hey there, viewers. So we are listening to Shishir and Masha again, the collaboration that they did for one of our extremely favorite track by Arnab, and the track is called Jao Pakhi Bolo Tare. We mentioned it during our last video, maybe when we covered Masha and Shishir's other work, that we are going to react to this track because we want to listen how they have covered it. And I think Monpura and this track is a cult classic, so a lot of people has certain emotions attached to this particular track. Let's listen to it together and then we talk about it.
Let's do it. Three, two, one, play.
সোনার পালঙ্কের ঘরে লিখে রেখে ছিলেম দ্বারে যাও পাখি বলো তারে সে যেন ভোলে না মোরে সুখে থেকো ভালো থেকো মনে রেখো এ আমারে
Her voice is mixed so that it comes out very crisp, crisper than usual. Very sharp, very crisp.
বুকের ভেতর নোনা ব্যথা চোখে আমার ঝরে কথা এপার ওপার তোল পাড়ে গান
It's more so interesting because this song has a lot of lower notes.
নোনা ব্যথা চোখে আমার ঝরে কথা এপার ওপার তোল পাড়ে গান যাও পাখি বলো তারে সে যেন ভোলে না মোরে সুখে থেকো ভালো থেকো মনে রেখো এ আমারে মেঘের ওপর আকাশ ওড়ে নদীর ওপার পাখির বাসা মনে বন্ধু বড় আশা
Very contrasting arrangement.
Yes, the
মেঘের
joy is
ওপর
Dilwan.
আকাশ ওড়ে নদীর ওপার পাখির বাসা মনে বন্ধু বড় আশা যাও পাখি ঝাড়ে ওড়ে তারে কয়ো আমার হয়ে চোখ জ্বলে যায় দেখবো তারে মন চলে যায় অদূর দূরে যাও পাখি বলো তারে
The way she sang that.
যেন ভোলে না মোরে সুখে থেকো ভালো থেকো মনে রেখো এই আমারে
A little bit of echo reverb added to her voice.
Is this track entirely done on keyboard?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
সোনার পালঙ্কের ঘরে লিখে রেখে ছিলেম দ্বারে যাও পাখি বলো তারে সে যেন ভোলে না মোরে সুখে থেকো ভালো থেকো মনে রেখো এই আমারে যাও পাখি বলো তারে সে যেন ভোলে না মোরে সুখে থেকো ভালো থেকো মনে রেখো এই আমারে
Okay.
yeah. So there's this bass elements.
Yeah. Electronic bass maybe.
There are these bass elements. There are a lot of electronic sounds, which I mean, I'm not saying that you can or this track has done it, but even in basic GarageBand, which is found on Mac, right? You can add all these sounds layer them, with the
Mm,
sound of
mm.
rain, have electronic
Yeah.
bass added, or even created and then added. Could be nowadays, all of these sounds could be managed with just one instrument as well,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yeah.
All right, all right. So yeah, you shared this with me, and when I played it,
Mm.
I heard like 5 seconds of it, and I was like, okay, wow, what's happening here? I mean, heard Masha's voice, and that was enough. But you go first.
So I shared it with you because I remember when we covered the other track of Shishir and Masha together. This one came into my recommendation as well, and I was thinking that why aren't we reacting to this one? Because we both love Monpura's tracks, especially Jao Pakhi Bolo Tare. It wouldn't be wrong to say that it's one of the most favorite tracks that we have listened out of Bangladesh so far.
Absolutely,
So far.
absolutely.
And I mean, what I liked about this particular track, there are certain elements to this. So I like Masha's singing through and through, especially the way she sings the chorus part, the way she has delivered the Jao Pakhi, the way she is singing that line. It always floors me. And uh, I think this particular track is just plainly how should I put it? It's a tribute to Monpura. It's not done with a lot of fancy stuff. Probably Shishir also thought that it's just a tribute that we can give to a cult classic, and he didn't added a lot of elements, or he didn't attempt to create an extravaganza sound for this particular track, which was good. Which was good. They kept it simple, probably just played it on the keys, everything as you mentioned. They added sounds of rain and everything, and it felt good to your ear if you have listened to the original track. But I think I personally think that in terms of composition, that this could have been slightly better, especially the beats that were getting played. They somehow were taking the true essence of the track for me. It's just a subjective opinion. So the beats throughout they sounded more modern, and this track has a very rooted, very rustic feel, the original one. So I would have loved if those beats were done probably in a more subtle manner. But overall, the song itself was a good listen. Not extraordinary, I would say, but a good listening. I would still go back to the original, and I think it's the case with most of the tracks which are being covered that you always have a special space for the original track. And probably that's the case with this one as well.
So in isolation, that track works. In isolation, right? If you haven't heard the original one,
Yes,
you would
correct.
like this track.
Yeah.
What is being done? So it might not be a tribute. It just says it's a different rendition, right? It's a
Mm,
just a different rendition of that particular track, which is itself very beautiful.
yeah.
Now, I mean, if it's sung without any instruments, it's just beautiful. That kind of track,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, as much as I love Masha Islam's voice and her singing,
Mm,
I felt that again, it's a very personal feeling. I felt that here it was more about the singing skill set being displayed, or
mm,
how well you can sing this track.
mm,
But everything else, because again, I have a bias towards the original one, a
we
huge
both
bias
have.
to the original one, right?
Mm,
But if even if I try to subjectively think about this track, again, I'm not qualified to do that. But again, a very subjective opinion. Everything done in this track was weird for me.
mm.
The way her voice was processed to make it a tiny bit more crisper, you know, it
Shrill,
just came
more
out
shrill.
sharper,
Yeah.
crisper, crisp, very crisp. While this song demanded very beautiful lower notes,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
right? That the pitch just didn't fit in, I
mm-hmm,
thought, right? a tiny bit more, I don't know, bassy
I see.
voice would have worked better, right? Although the original song and the in this one, both the voice types are very similar. The notes that are being sung here are very similar. So I went back and forth between original and this one at least
Same
four
here.
times,
Same here.
right? Before sitting down with you, I went back and forth because it was just bothering me a lot. And I was like, okay, maybe again, my ears are not tuned to categorize the voice types, whether it's alto or mezzo soprano, something like that. So first I thought the when I because it was the way it was mixed crisper, I thought that okay, her voice is sounding mezzo or soprano more, while the original one was a different voice type. But then when I had it side by side, it wasn't the case. It was very similar voice types, similar notes, but the way it was processed and what was being played was very contrasting. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It was just contrasting, right? And yeah, the original again, the original bias had captured the emotion very
Very well.
purely,
Yeah.
right? Very well. Here, they are not trying to do that. They're probably not trying to do that, right? So that as well, because that adds to the beauty of original track. Here, it's more about creating a rendition that is sung with a different skill set,
Yeah.
martial skill set.
Yeah.
So this is what I thought. Another thing was that in between there was this piano piece, which replaced kind of the flute piece from the original
From the
one,
original one.
which was like okay. I was like no, that is not something that works for me. That is something not work. Again, a different rendition. They were not trying to copy it one by one. I
No,
mean,
no.
if they were
It's
trying to
not.
copy it, they would have used flute. But yeah, it's the arrangement. It felt off to me. That's it.
Yeah. And the one thing that I liked about the original piece the most I would say, is the transition that is there in the original track because it
Yes,
starts from the more rooted rustic approach with the older lady singing, and then
the old lady. Yeah.
there's a very subtle switch.
I like the old lady part more
Yes,
because it comes out. It comes out so natural.
so organic,
It
so
just
organic.
absolutely, that's a correct word,
Yeah.
organic. You know, it comes out that okay, your grandmother or some such
Yep.
is sitting among you and just singing her heart out about something that is very close to her.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the movie. I haven't watched the movie, but from that particular transition, I feel that yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna go into the movie and what happened in the movie. Okay, forget that.
But
But yeah, okay.
nevertheless, I think I was just when you were just talking about this particular bit, I was also going through the description, and here it also mentioned that it's just a rendition track, just out of passion. So
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
they both just love this particular track and they just wanted to create another version of their own. So still, I think
This is exactly what would happen. This is
yeah,
exactly what would happen if, because we love this track so much, we would try to create our own rendition, and some folks in the wild would say, "Okay, what the hell they have created? Right?
exactly,
It just doesn't
yeah,
work."
yeah. True, this happens. This happens.
Right? And there would be some folks that would like, "Okay, wow,
Wow,
this
yeah.
is even better."
I think
Right?
those
So
folks who haven't listened to the original one, let's say the guys who,
exactly.
yeah, those who haven't watched the movie, or maybe if you talk about Gen Z, maybe they would have loved this particular track, and I think this reflects in the number of views it has got.
So take up Pakhi.
Take up
We
here.
heard of Masha Islam, right? And that was also done in a very brilliant manner because we found it very brilliant. But it was also done in a very modern manner,
Modern manner. Yeah.
right? If it had a older rendition with this grounded elements,
Hmm.
organic elements, and woody flute and all that, I
Yeah.
would have loved it more,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But
true.
also it depends on which one you heard first. So
True.
if I
100%.
had heard it this first, and I would have liked it, and I would have a bias or inclination towards it, and then I have heard the old
Correct.
version. In this case, probably I would have liked older. Still, yeah. But nothing to take away from what Shishir has done here.
Absolutely not.
They were just passionate about this particular track, and they did
Hmm.
it. It still comes out really nice.
Yeah. Still, definitely, it still comes out pretty nice. But yeah, I think let's conclude it over here. Um, I am starting to explore more of Shishir's work, more of his individual work that he was part of our Tohin, right? You told me about it. So he has his own channel as well, and he is doing and he has done some work in the past as well, which I want to explore further. Um, I think he's a brilliant composer. The track that he did with Masha, and there was one more with Rafa. I personally like them a lot. So we'll cover more of his work, or at least listen to more of his work to understand what his music is about. But yeah, let us know your thoughts around this rendition, and what were your thoughts about the cult classic that has been recreated again. So yeah, drop in some comments, and we'll catch up on the next one. Until then, take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Bye bye.